All right, it's time now to welcome in the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts, Frank Reich. Frank, I got to ask you real quick. Can you believe it's finally here? We have game week ready to go right in front of us right now. And are you ready for this? How's your team?
Well, it's funny you say that. That's what we've been talking about. Usually in training camp, when you get to the first preseason game, players are talking about we're looking forward to hitting someone else. Well, with no preseason games, this week has been a long time coming. We're ready to go. Looking forward to go down and play a division opponent, a good division opponent down in Jacksonville.
You know, Coach, I'm picking you guys to win the division, and the reason why is because my guy, as I call him, filthy Phillip Rivers. What's the impression of him, man? I know he's out there calling out all the defensive players. He's a heck of a competitor. What's the guys' first thought? I mean, you had him before. How are the guys rallying behind Filthy?
Yeah, you're right, James. I mean, it was easy transition for him. And what's funny with his reputation, I think all the defensive guys were looking forward to getting into the verbal battles with him in training camp. So we've had a few of those and they've been fun, but that fire and competitiveness is still there. He physically looks great. And he's doing a great job, on and off the field with our team and leadership. And he's still got that same crazy elite accuracy and can make big plays.
You've had a busy offseason with free agency and the draft, and you're not only bringing in Phillip Rivers, but DeForest Buckner and Xavier Rhodes, and a heck of a draft with Pittman and Jonathan Taylor. You said that this is your strongest roster that you've been around. Explain that.
Well, we talk about here, Coach, we really believe about building from the inside out. And we feel like our offensive line is one of the best in the league. There's a lot of good teams out there, a lot of good offensive lines, but we love our guys up front. And then defensively, it's the same thing. With the addition, as you said, of DeForest Buckner, this guy is a beast, and he's going to be a game wrecker. You can just tell the defensive line gel. We got Justin Houston, we got depth across the line. I think we're 7-8 deep. And so the reason I feel like this is going to be our best roster, sure, we got great skill, but I believe we're going to be really good up front on both sides of the ball, and I believe that's where it starts.
Coach Moose likes to run the ball all the time. I'm all about the pass game. I like to throw the ball all the time. Which one of these young receivers or young offensive players have really stepped out in training camp and you guys are like, wow, he could really be a guy for our football team?
I mean, I think they've all shown good flashes. It takes time to develop, but, Michael Pittman has certainly looked great. He's big and strong and fast. He's done a great job of learning the offense very quickly, very smart player. And so strong hands and just a strong player with the ball in his hands. So we're looking forward to him developing. I think you see over the years at wide receiver, it takes a little time. So we need to be patient with him, but I think he's going to make a major impact. And then Jonathan Taylor, to have him and Marlon Mack, as what we're saying here, is going to be like a 1-1 punch, not a 1-2 punch. James, it's going to be a 1-1 punch. Those two guys are, we're looking for them to run behind a very good offensive line and, really complement each other well with their styles. So I feel very excited to get those two young players here.
Frank, without any preseason games and hitting and tackling and blocking live and without any joint practices, as a coach, I want to know how do you get your team ready for the physical contact, the hitting, the football hitting with such a limited preseason? And do you just scrimmage or how ready is your team for hitting?
I think that's the biggest challenge, Mooch, is the physical nature of it. Now our practices were pretty intense, and we did have 2 days where we had live periods. So we probably got about 50 live plays total, which isn't a whole lot, but it's some to get a taste of it. But up front, offensively and defensively, there's plenty of physical practices. And really the big question mark, I think you hit on it, Mooch, is, how good is the tackling going to be? How good is the tackling going to be in week one? As you look around the league, people are going to win and lose games based on how good they tackle in week one. So we've been trying to drill it as much as we can, talk about it, drill it, get them ready, get your feet and body in the right position in practice, even though we're only thudding up. But that's going to be a big tell in week one for sure.
Coach, being the head coach of a ball club, we in some difficult times right now with this social justice. stuff going on. How has some of them conversations been with some of your players, team meetings? How has those meetings been?
You know, James, they've been outstanding. I mean, it's very difficult discussions under horrific circumstances with some of the things that we've seen and some of the injustice that we've seen. You know, we're tore at the core. You know, we're hurting. Our players are hurting. Our black players are hurting to see the community, the stress on the communities. And it's been really good for a lot of our white players to listen and to learn and to understand the issue better. And for us as an organization to draw together, to draw strength from one another. And our players have done an outstanding job of really putting together a plan of action. You know, we want to have a plan of action going into this season that, you know, we know we're football players. We got to do our job on the field, but our players have put together a 4-point plan of action for the 2020 season that in their off days, you know, it'll be coaches and players in our organization really stepping out with each other to make a big impact, to understand the issue better, to bring resources to the issue, but to really get down on the ground level and help people and make a difference in this area.
Well, plan of action is the main thing, and I know you guys are going to be heavily involved in that. One other thing that's very near and dear to your heart, Frank, is you and Linda have a foundation called the Not Today Foundation. Could you talk about that, please?
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, Mooch, back just to allude real quickly to what James said about the social injustice issues. When I made a statement about that, you know, back in June, I said, you know, one of the things that tears at the human heart more than anything is injustice. And so for Linda and I, the two causes that we really want to stand behind are the areas of social injustice to the black community, but also in this area of sexual abuse, exploitation, and trafficking of children. It's a horrific tragedy. It's a horrific injustice. And it's something that we're working very hard at. We've purchased a building so that we can partner with a local organization here to help in any way we can here in Indy. And our plans, Coach, are really to develop the prototype here in Indy, but then to really go into as many NFL cities as we can once we build it here in Indy and continue to learn and make an impact here. But it's a horrific injustice. So we want to create awareness. We want prevention strategies, and we want to work on the restoration of children who have been victimized by this horrific injustice.
Well, I think I can speak for everybody at the NFL Network. We really appreciate not only the job that you do on the field, Frank, but the work that you're doing off the field. Thank you. Congratulations. And good luck in your opener against Jacksonville. Thanks for coming on with us, Frank.
Thanks, Mooch, and thanks, James.